Yo, what's up everybody? I'm Maclin, and today I'm gonna go over and explain how to set up and use a dive start for your clean and your deadlift. So I've got the bar over here, and typically for a clean or a deadlift, the starting position is your most important position. That's gonna be the position where you can get tight, you set up on the bar. That's gonna allow you to basically get everything active so that you can pull the bar off the floor, you can have good technique. So the start position is really, really important. I'm gonna talk about why I use the dive start. And before I go into it, I'm just gonna explain like the differences between the different types of starts, because there's a few different differences. So there's the static start, which is what I recommend for beginners. So a static start would be if you were doing a clean or a deadlift, you would get into your clean or deadlift start position, and you would stay here for pretty still for a moment of time before you actually started to come off the floor. Okay? That's what I would recommend for beginners, so that you can learn what that position feels like. But once you practice that and you've got a good feel for the starting position, you can change it up and move into a dynamic start. A dynamic start is where your body or the bar is moving throughout lifting the bar up. So you see sometimes people, they'll get set up, they'll kind of roll the bar and then they'll get set up here, or they'll come back and then they'll get set up. So these are all dynamic type starts, and these are ways to get maybe a little advantage and more leverage and more force off the floor, because sometimes getting the bar moving off the floor is like the hardest part for a lot of people. Now, I use a particular type of dynamic start called the dive start, and the reason why I use this is because it helps me kind of get organized and tight as I pull off the floor. I tend to have a very weak first pull, but when I try to static start, I can't get super tight here. I don't feel a lot of tension in my legs, and then the bar feels really heavy coming off the floor. And if the bar feels heavy coming off the floor, it's gonna be slow and you're probably not gonna make the lift. So I use the dive start for that reason of getting really tight, and so I can move the bar really fast off the floor. I stay in a good position, plus it's a mental thing as well for me. It allows me to just pull the bar without hesitation. So a lot of times, especially if you're pulling like a heavy deadlift, you get down here and you start pulling the bar and the bar is not budging. That's gonna tell your brain that this bar is not gonna move, and you're gonna fail the lift before you even get a chance to lift it. So that's why I use the dive start. So in this video, I'm gonna teach you how to use the dive start and how to set up for it properly. Now, who should use the dive start? If you've been doing weightlifting or you've been deadlifting for a while and you've got your start position pretty much nailed down, you can try out the dive start, especially if you have, if getting the bar moving off the floor is the hardest part for you, the dive start may help you. If you're a brand new beginner to weightlifting or deadlifting, I would not suggest you to use the dive start. I would highly suggest that you practice a static start instead of doing a dive start. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and explain how I get set up for the dive start. So actually, CDP, I want you to come a little bit closer to me, because I want to emphasize the approach and the setup to the bar. So it starts the same way as you would a normal deadlift or clean. Now I'm just gonna show a deadlift, but you can apply this to a clean. You can also apply this to a sumo deadlift or any kind of variation deadlift that you wanna do. I'm gonna approach the bar as I normally would, with my feet, in same hip width position where I would normally start. Now for a deadlift, I'm gonna get a little bit closer to the bar. I like to start with the bar a little bit away from my shins, but very close to my shins. Now, what I'm gonna do is I'm going to stand up nice and tall, and I'm gonna set my hands where they would be if I were to just reach straight down and grab the bar. So I'm setting my hands first, okay? Then, because I'm not gonna move them, and then I'm going to kind of screw my feet into the ground. Basically, I'm getting my feet nice and planted into the ground, like I'm trying to spread the floor apart with my feet. Almost like if I'm pushing my heels outwards to the walls, to the left and to the right of me. And then I'm gonna squeeze my butt really hard. Now, this is the key. This is gonna set your pelvis in place and allow you to have a neutral spine, because what happens is if your pelvis is not set, then what's going to happen when you go to pull, your back's going to round, your lower back's going to round, and that's going to cause you to have some kind of injury. So getting tight and set up here by squeezing your butt really, really hard. And then I'm going to pull my shoulder blades back, like I'm trying to pinch a coin in between my scaps. I'm going to pull them back really, really super hard while keeping my butt squeezed. Everything is super, super tight. Feet are screwed into the ground, butt squeezed, shoulder blades are pulled back. Then I'm going to take a big, big, big breath of air and push it down into my belly. This is a Valsalva remover. This is going to maintain my tight spine. It's gonna brace my spine. It's gonna brace my core, keep my midline stable. That's gonna keep it from collapsing. And then going into when the midline collapses, this is when you start to round and you lose the ability to maintain position as you're pulling off the floor. So, and then when I do that, when I've got my midline braced, I can relax my glutes a little bit, but my hands are still in the same position. My feet are still glued into the ground and my shoulders are still pulled back. I'm going to slowly go down, reach down for the bar. I'm gonna look at the bar a little bit, my hands, and then pull. Now, of course, I'm gonna do this a lot faster because this is a dive. I just slowed it down to show you how I approach the actual grabbing the bar and pulling it up. So I'm gonna do this in full speed. I'm gonna get set up. All right, I'm gonna screw my feet in the ground, squeeze my butt, pull my shoulder blades back, take a big breath there. Grab the bar and go. So this is lightweight, but if this were a heavier weight, I would essentially, there would be no hesitation from me grabbing the bar and immediately pulling up. And what this allows me to do, this allows me to stay super, super tight as I come down to the bar, and then immediately use all that stretch and all that tightness to pull the bar, to drive through the floor, to get the bar up. So this allows me to have a lot more speed coming off the floor, which is gonna help me, it's gonna basically make the lift feel easier and feel lighter. And that's what you wanna do with any really good start position. You wanna get in a good position, you wanna get super, super tight and engage the muscles that you need to engage so that you can generate all that force on the bar and get it to where you wanna be. In this case, you know, at the top of the deadlift. You could also do this for a clean, if I set up for a clean position. So I do the same thing, get set here at the top, come down, my butt goes back first, shoulders over the bar, grab, go, okay? It's the same thing. And this allows me to generate a lot of force off the ground and really make that first pull, or that pull off the floor, a lot easier. So if you have been doing cleans and deadlifts for a while and you're struggling with pulling off the floor, you may just need to change up your starting position and try out this dive start. It may help you get a lot more force and power off the floor. And that's it. Go.